Welcome back to the Sunday Business Page.
This past week, the world's attention was focused on southwestern Pennsylvania and a tough battle to fill a vacant seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. The results were neck and neck, but there was one certainty: the winner will be a man. It's still very difficult for women to run for office and win at almost every level of government in this community and statewide. Chatham University continues to try to make a difference with its Pennsylvania Center for Women in Politics. This morning, we welcome Dr. Jennie Sweet-Cushman to this program. She's assistant professor of political science and international studies at Chatham and the assistant director of their Pennsylvania Center for Women in Politics. Jennie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Folks have heard me say this over and over again. Pennsylvania is a terrible state when it comes to women in politics. The fact that we have no women among the 18 members of Congress, we have no women as U.S. senators, never have. We've never had a woman governor. I guess we've had a woman lieutenant governor. But it's just very, very difficult for women in politics. Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah. Well, everybody kind of always wants a silver bullet on that one.
Right.
And it's actually a multitude of factors. The one that I think is most important here in Pennsylvania is the way our party system works. And it's been run by men, continues to be mostly run by men, and that's where candidates are drawn from those networks that the parties have. And it's very natural. It's not necessarily anybody's trying to keep women out, but it's natural that you look to the people around you. You see a bunch of really great qualified male candidates, and those are the people you bring into the fold and promote as candidates. So that's the big one. Incumbency is a problem as well. We have lots of men that are serving right now, and they're interested in staying there.
Yeah, and it's hard to defeat an incumbent, male or female, once they're in there.
Absolutely.
And I think you're absolutely right. In Pennsylvania, there tends to be a lot of politicians who stay on and on and on and on and never give up their seats.
Right.
So there's never an opportunity for a woman to run. Well, we right now have just completed the filing for State House and State Senate and for governor. We still have another week for the new congressional districts. You've analyzed some of this. Are we seeing more women candidates running in Pennsylvania in 2018 than we did in years before?
Yeah, it looks like there is an uptick of the number of women that have filed to run, particularly for state senate.
State Senate.
40% of the candidates for state senate are women, so that's
Whoa.
pretty promising. Yes.
Stop right there. Yeah. I mean, that's breaking news. Nearly half, you say 40%,
40%, yes,
of the candidates running in the primary on May 15th are women for state senate.
And 2 women currently seated have no opposition whatsoever, so they will stay for sure.
They will stay, yes, of course.
Yes.
If nobody opposes them, right.
Yes.
So does that mean, I don't know exactly where's our state senate right now in terms of women?
7 of 50.
7 women out of 50.
Yes.
That's terrible.
It is.
That's 14%.
It is.
When women make up 52% of the electorate.
Right. Right. So that's our concern. And certainly getting more women to run is absolutely the way that we need to tackle that problem. The good news is that with more candidates, it looks like many of them are stronger candidates.
Right.
They're running in more strategic places. There are retirements, so there are open seats, and it's easier for women to win when there are open seats, and there's more of those things happening in 2018 than in the past.
I know that there are 2 women in one district running for state senator here in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. I believe that's the district up there, where the incumbent state senator is a male. 2 women are running. They're going to end up running against each other, but that's okay.
Yeah, shouldn't we have that happening, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Do you think there are prospects for women to win in legislative races in 2018?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly there's a lot of energy around women's candidacies that you haven't necessarily seen in the past. The parties are doing more to support more women candidates. The women candidates are less likely to be, what we would call sacrificial lambs. Like we need to put someone on the ballot, and a lot of times a woman winds up taking that spot.
I think we ought to note that there is a woman running for governor of Pennsylvania.
There is.
We don't see that very often, and kudos to Laura Ellsworth, who's a Pittsburgh attorney, a very prominent Pittsburgh attorney, who's running against Scott Wagner and Paul Mango, they're all three Republicans, and they're running in the primary this May to take on Governor Wolf come fall. No predictions yet on whether the woman has a chance to win this, but she's clearly in the race. So are there any particular deterrents when a woman enters the race? Is there anything that makes it more difficult for her than for a man entering a race?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of contextual factors. So, the man is more likely to be the incumbent in Pennsylvania. And then I just heard this week from a candidate who's running for State House, and her primary challenger, a man, attacked her for leaving her children behind to go to Harrisburg. And that is an attack that is very powerful against a woman, a mother, and has really no impact on a man. So that's one consideration. Fundraising is a challenge. If you have incumbents that are men, where are you getting your money from? And that's very intimidating.
So it can be harder for women to raise money?
Actually, research shows that women are just as good at raising money. They just have to work harder to do it.
Yeah, well, isn't that true about a lot of things when it comes to our society? I'll tell you, I find it very offensive, this notion that a woman should stay in her home as opposed to running for the House of Representatives or some other political office. By the way, that argument was used against my mother when she ran for office many, many years ago. She lost the first time she ran when she had young children. She ultimately won after her kids were grown up. So I don't know, maybe that argument carries weight with someone. It doesn't carry any weight with me.
And you turned out just fine. So.
And I turned out, right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jenny. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and for sharing with us. I mean, this is really important, folks. I mean, my mother used to say, if you don't know any of the candidates, always vote for the woman. Now, I wouldn't recommend that necessarily. I think it's better to go out and find out more about the candidates and then cast a vote. Thank you again for being with us. When the Sunday Business Page continues, the critical role that Wesley Family Services plays in this community and why a disability summit next week is so important. Stick with us.